Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone!
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we don't discriminate. As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips and tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm Mental. What? Chris and Chrissy are back. That's
Yay!
Awesome. And we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to a Prime, Twin Prime, Lucky Prime, and sum of 3 consecutive Prime episode of our podcast, because it's episode 349. And 349 is all of those things. And before everyone who isn't Donnie starts trying to do the math, Prime number 109, 113, and 127 equal 149. And if that's too lame, because we had a couple of different car things that we just couldn't land on that one.
Or they were all so bad that we just couldn't land them because nothing was worth it. That's
No. We could call this a risky business episode because we are recording this on July 2nd, and it's Tom Cruise's birthday.
Wow, that's something, I suppose.
Speaking of risky business, a cat's getting into the trash can.
Well, she's on the counter and she just
The
looks at me and was
recycling,
like,
yes.
what? No, she's on the counter. She's like, what?
Little trash cat.
What?
Hello.
What?
Shoot. What?
So if you're not escaping Guido the Killer Pimp in your hella sweet Porsche 928, you could bring up the bingo card. I don't even think we link it anymore. It's so out of date. But yeah. We'll come up. We'll have a new game. There'll be something. We can do.
Oh, a different game. That would be fun.
A different game. This is a great idea. So you guys have not been here for so long.
That's correct.
So we'll start with Chris. What you working on?
Well, the stuff we've been doing is going to be the subject of several shows coming up in the future. Like, going to Le Mans and racing and stuff like that. So I'll just talk about what we've been doing since we got back from Europe. Is mostly just picking up the pieces of life that we dropped when we were doing other things for 3 weeks. But getting to get the boat ready to put the boat in the water for the summer, because finally we're getting up to the Cape and doing something with the boat. Didn't even take it out of the storage garage until like this weekend. But I needed to put some new oil lines on the motor. It's a direct oil injected and direct fuel injected 2-stroke engine. The oil lines were leaking. There's 7 of them. They are 20 years old now, and so I replaced them all. Figured that's a good idea. New bottom paint. Had to repair the bow eye on the front of the boat, as it kind of hogged out the hole a little bit over the years. New bearings, new wheel bearings on the trailer, but remove and clean and repack. And I added bearing buddies to the bearings on the trailer, which
They sound so cute.
I know. It's very nice.
It's a bearing buddy. Oh,
Cute.
It is. It's great for the point of it is it goes over the edge of at the end of your wheel bearings, like where the dust cap usually goes, and you fill it with a bunch of grease that it pressurizes it. And the point is, when you drive your boat on the road, the bearings get warm, as bearings are wont to do. You then go to put the boat in the water, and you dump it into the 70-degree cold ocean or lake, and everything cools off rapidly, and it can actually suck water inside. So that's the seals. So this pressurizes the inside of it, so that doesn't happen. So I figured I'll just put those on. They're cheap, easy insurance.
And we're also driving it far away, so it would be nice to have that extra security to be not stuck on 95 at midnight in Connecticut. So that sounds great.
Yeah, I haven't touched the bearings in this trailer since we bought it brand new a couple of years ago. So I figured it was time. They look perfect, but now they're going to be better, because the best time to not have trailer problems is before you leave and make sure everything's good, because no one likes being on the side of the highway.
At any hour with a boat that we don't want to leave, but you don't want to can't
Yeah.
call somebody to tow it. Yeah, let's not do that.
Yep. Anyway, that's all.
While Chris was doing all of that, I was buffing. So I was trying to work on the boat. I only did a couple layers, so it wasn't too bad. Only have a couple calluses and blisters, so it's not too bad. But, I was working on the boat, so yeah. And then we were back from our vacation, unpacking, and now repacking, some jet lag, all that good stuff. Wasn't too bad, but it was enough that my sleep schedule may still not be right. So, yeah, so we're going to talk a lot about Le Mans. We're going to talk about our experience staying there, and then what went well and what was great and what we liked, all that good stuff. And then I think we're going to talk about the cars too. So, yeah, we've got some ideas. I know everybody probably wants to hear about it. And then we had a whole additional trip. We went to Le Mans, and then we went to a whole bunch of other places in France while we were gone. So, yeah, it was great. Great trip.
If there's anything specific you guys want to hear about
Ooh, yeah.
the Le Mans trip, please let us know so we can incorporate that.
That would be great.
That sounds great.
Yep.
Okay. Mental, what you been up to?
So I had to go to the post office yesterday, and the place that did the window tint on base for the Mercedes was on the way, and the post office was closed for lunch. So I walked over there and I asked, hey, how much would it be to upgrade the window tint on this? And the guy gave me a price and using the heat management stuff. And I'm like, oh, great. Let's make an appointment for that. And he goes, well, if you got nothing going on right now, throw him the keys.
Let me just do it right now. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, it's two windows.
I guess.
I actually had all four done. So I had like the side and the back brought down to just slightly illegal levels. And then they actually have a non-shade heat management tint that they will put on the front window. And it took up a couple hours. I went back to my office, and then I walked back over there and picked up my car and opened the door, and immediately so worth it. Just 10 degrees
good.
cooler.
That's wonderful.
Not to say that it is at all cool, but 140 inside your car down to like 120 is.
I can't even imagine that. I don't comprehend that.
Black car in the desert. Black car in the desert.
Well, that's why it was cheap, right?
Yeah. And, and I still have the weather, the custom fit window shade on there. And so, yeah, immensely. So did that. And then it just been steady knocking out smaller projects in the garage. You saw the post of my welded up table, and then I've been laying out for the new workbench.
How'd that go?
Yeah, it's replaced. I took the old wooden table and wheeled it around the back of my house. Little bitty casters, by the way, are terrible in gravel, especially on a table that weighs like 400 pounds. So
did you learn the hard way? Did you?
I knew
this was going to go well. Okay, we just knew this
going
was
in.
be.
And every now and again, you just had to pick up the table and like move it because the wheels were digging trails into the gravel. So that one is now an overbuilt coffee table for the hot tub, so I can set my water up there while I'm in the hot tub.
Oh.
And then I got that one in there. So I'm creating space in the garage, and then just starting to clear the workbench off, lay some things out. Started some welding work that I wanted to do for the 914. Just try and I can't, like, I come home from work instead of just going straight out of the garage. It's just, I'm not going to complain about the heat, but I'm not going to sit out there in the garage and melt either. So I end up sitting around and fiddling with stuff until like 7 when the sun goes down, and then I can go out in the garage and it's bearable. Hence,
well, that's why we have this
software.
This
yes,
whole cool thing here. We just show up and all of a sudden we're like, "What is this place? It's amazing."
Yes. So if you're not watching this, we've got a new YouTube, or you can watch this also on Spotify. If I remember this week to load up the video instead of duplicating the audio as some of our feedback was. But the upside of this one is when I play that intro, it automatically starts to record.
Oh, so, this is already
set up that little safety measure right there on that one. So that's what we're working on. And then while I had some plans to get a lot of this done, there's a lot of opportunities for last minute shows here in Vegas. And yesterday afternoon, Vicky and I had a chance to go catch a last-minute comedy show at Jimmy Kimmel's, and we saw a guy named Josh Wolf and a couple of and his son Jacob Wolf and some opening acts. So we went down there and just caught a local comedy club, and in fact, all of the comedians live here in Vegas, but they're touring comedians, including, I wish I could remember his name, but one of the guys, he was raised in a family of deaf people. So his
that's interesting.
mother, father, and sister are all deaf. So he had to learn to talk completely internally himself by watching television. And as a result, he can do everybody. He can do any voice. He does Family Guy, American Dad, and he's on the Howard Stern show. And his new character that he was working out with the crowd is because Al Pacino, who is now 71, 72, just had a baby with his 20-year-old wife. And I'm sure she truly loves him. But yeah, that's the face right there, Chrissy. That's a good one.
It was the throw up emoji if you wanted to, if you're not listening, if you're listening and not watching the show.
Yeah, you can just make that noise.
That's what happened right now.
But he was one of the things on there, and I'll just let your imagination, because I'm not going to try and imitate it, but Al Pacino's baby. What do you like to do? And Al Pacino's voice, well, I like to pee. I like to pee a lot. So that was
great.
That was my, not nowhere near as interesting as you guys, but there it was.
We don't usually do that interesting, and don't plan on doing that for a while.
Yes. I paid for a home. I would like to sit in my home.
We're not even
like
doing
to
that. We're leaving again. Oh, well.
Fair.
Summertime.
We did this weekend just because we needed to recover. I was like, we're not going anywhere. We needed to put the boat in anyway.
Yes.
Okay, it's news time.
It is news and notes time. Let me see if I can do this right. All right. Go,
What?
Chrissy.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what you're doing. Okay, even with today's safety requirements in race cars, racing's still a dangerous sport. But because of the safety measures people typically live. Well, it's surprising that everyone lived at a recent race at Spa where a Porsche driver went full speed, slams into a stopped Ferrari. Our friend Bradley Brownell at Jalipnik tells us that Spa Francorchamps officials have been showing yellow flags for 16 seconds at the time that Adrian De Salva's Porsche ran headlong into the stopped Rinaldi Racing Ferrari 296 at the start-finish straight. De Salva was the 16th car in line, attempting to pass the sideline bronze class Ferrari as it coasted extremely slowly towards the grass. These cars had plenty of time to slow down, but the Porsche and everyone else just kept going 120 miles an hour without abatement. This is totally scary stuff. Glad everyone made
Fire.
alive.
It involves fire. It is awful. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine looking in any kind of rear view and just watching this car just not stopping at all.
Yeah. And ooh, you amateur endurance racers, you guys are dangerous. Whatever. That right
We're
there.
used to get dodging things like that. Come on.
Exactly. Furthermore, we also know that he would have been writing 100 times on his car, I will not make Ferraris explode. I will not make Ferraris explode.
Yeesh. Well, after he picks up the pieces all over the track.
Exactly. Yes. And then we want you to go out there and sweep up the track, and then you got to go apologize. All right. So perhaps you have noticed. Nope. Damn it. Got the wrong one again. I'm going to get this. All right. You have noticed your normal service guy has been a lot grumpier than usual when you've taken your vehicle in to have it serviced. And that is because Andrew Collins tells us over at The Drive, back in June, a Cyberattack disabled over 15,000 U.S. dealerships with a management system provider called CDK. And now 5 of 6 of America's biggest dealerships run almost all their business through CDK software. My buddy who works for an independent shop in Oklahoma, they use CDK software. Now, as of Monday, CDK is absolutely certain that they have secured everything and you will be back online by Wednesday, which as we are recording this is tomorrow, July 3rd. late Wednesday. What that means is your service guy just got his entire 4th of July ruined because he has got a month of backlog stuff, no doubt scribbled on sticky notes that are in a stack on his desk that he out has to enter into the computer to get that everybody on there. Won't that be such a wonderful time?
Yeah.
That sounds
It's a
terrible.
shame. Yep. All right. The Toyota Supra continues for 2025, but it's losing the base 2-liter 4-cylinder, writes Jonathan Ramsey at Autoblog. The Supra in 2023 had a no-cost option manual transmission added to supplement the originally offered automatic, and that choice has apparently influenced developments. A Toyota spokesperson told CarScoop's, quote, to streamline the GR Supra grade strategy and align with customer demand, the 2-liter model will be discontinued for 2025. The addition of the manual transmission in 2023 has shifted demand towards the more powerful 3-liter variants, end quote. Damn right it did. The 2024 GR Supra, right? Come on, everyone was waiting for that, and apparently it's wonderful. So the 2024 GR Supra starts at $47,535. With that gone, for the 2-liter, it's going to cost almost $10,000 more than before to get into the coupe. Because on top of the increase caused by shedding the 2-liter, the MSRP climbs $850 on the 3-liter. Prices for the 2025 GR Supra after the $1,100 destination fee are $57,345 and another about $3,000 for the premium model, which is no doubt better. Price does include a 1-year membership to NASA with perks like a free HPDE.
That's it. Oh,
I got to drive somebody's Supra.
I forgot about that.
That was great.
VIR, yeah.
Yeah.
And you made the owner so excited.
Oh yeah, imagine a session.
Oh yeah, like
he drove driving other people's Supras around a VIR. It was pretty fun. And then eventually I got her to drive it. I got her, which she'd never done anything like that before, but down the long straight at VIR, we got to 120, and she was super pumped.
That's outstanding.
It really just showed her, like, this is what you can do. You have this car. Like, it was actually a great experience. So why not? Get them into NASA. Like, they now know what HPDs are. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
the Supra is a
freaking
G4.
expensive.
Oh, I think we lost Chris. All right. Well, yeah.
I'm still
You were
here.
going to say, yeah, he's probably going to say that it was a good car. I'm going to sneak over real quick. All right. Yeah, there he is. He lost his connection completely.
Apparently. We'll see
Apparently.
if he gigablasts or comes back.
He gigablasted all of it. Yeah, there he is.
Okay.
All right.
No idea what happened. I was just talking, and then I'm gone. I'm
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
It's
Supras.
all good.
Yeah.
Supra.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm Supra.
Anyway,
Thanks for asking.
Moving along.
All right. This one in news you can use. Lewin Day over at the Autopian has let us know that Skynet has figured out how to get us all to accept the robot overrule. It is delivering Chick-fil-A. They are doing what Apple, Google, Amazon have not done, and this is autonomous vehicles actually functioning in traffic. Now, according to the article, an Atlanta resident even spotted one and posted it on Twitter. See if I can get this to play. Ooh, I can. This is cool.
Dude, I wish
All right.
this thing would
So he is driving along. It is following the rules of the road. It is maneuvering across lanes of traffic. This is fantastic. As
We're
Lewin
gonna
himself
watch it get
asked,
T-boned right here.
will the chicken bots be the first to safely navigate real roads with
Chicken
impunity?
nuggies everywhere.
Chick-fil-A has been working on this since 2022. The rollout to Georgia began last month. The company's pilot program was undertaken in partnership with Refraction AI, which is an Austin-based company specializing in these kinds of autonomous delivery solutions. Previously, they had worked with KiwiBot in an earlier test program in 2021 in California. But I do find it absolutely hilarious that Chick-fil-A has figured out autonomous vehicles. No one else. Just, we got Teslas wrecking all over the place, but Chick-fil-A, yeah, we got it. We got you, bro. You need that spicy chicken sandwich? It's on the way.
If they delivered it on Sunday, that would make it even better, but probably not going to happen.
You wonder, because the robots aren't religious. Who knows? All
right. Well, somebody's still got to make it, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
You'd have to
maybe not,
pre-make
but,
some of it. Yeah.
Or just like they have in France, they have all kinds of vending machines. You can just get a pizza vending machine. There were baguette vending machines.
We got that here. Yeah, in Las Vegas.
Well, do you just walk up and say, I want this pizza, and it comes out?
Like it makes it. It will literally, the robot makes the pizza. It as Vicky noted last night, she's like perfect drunk food. A robot made pizza because that you have to be drunk to think.
Get one, and everybody else said no. But also, so I guess you could have Chick-fil-A robots making Chick-fil-A sandwiches and then delivering them in Chick-fil-A. This is terrifying. Can I just say how terrifying? I just don't want this.
I don't want like the skull glowing eyeball machine gun toting robots, but if they show up with food, you know what? I mean, we had a good run. We blew it. I mean, look at our choices for leader right now. Maybe the robots will do a better job. At least they'll feed us.
Maybe they might not, though. They don't eat. Why would they eat? Why would they feed us? This is not everyone robots. This is everyone.
No, that's
not yet.
That's
not
yeah.
yet.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not everyone
yet.
robots just yet. Or Danica Patrick show everyone lizards.
Not yet. Not that one either. All right, let's move on. Okay, so on Racing Junk, there were a few new additions to the Lemons Ready cars available on Racing Junk, and one of them was an E34 5 Series BMW with a terrible theme, but apparently it's one overall and needs some engine work. It's got a 2.5 liter Lemons legal roll cage, differential cooler, cool suit ice chest system. That's not bad. A fire suppression system, custom fabricated seat that it can accommodate very tall drivers. Comes with a bunch of spares. It's in Santa Barbara, California. It's for $5,900, and they have the upgraded membership because they have 30 pictures. So that's kind of fun. So if you're in California, you want a not the most boring BMW, then I like their ice cooler. Go back. It's a Gatorade container.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I guess. Oh,
No,
it looks pretty well done, I have to say, overall, this thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Gatorade container or the car?
The car, there's a lot of little details on it that look like someone cared.
Yeah, but I was surprised to see it on Racing Junk and thought that if somebody needs a car, it's not too bad.
Yeah. This is a well-developed car for $5,900. Yeah.
I think it's fairly newish, so I don't think maybe you can haggle. You can always try.
Never hurts to try.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we've seen worse things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have. Deathmobiles and then some.
Hell, we've raced worse things.
That's true. Upcoming races. There are none.
It's too
Not
hot.
for a while.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But recent results, we have those.
Recent results we do have. So Champ Car was at Sebring. They did a 14-hour one race there. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot and a Miata won overall with 218 laps. Just one lap down was Flat Out Nemesis, also in a Miata. And then Clark Motorsports in a Miata took third, which there's all kinds of like mockery about how many Miatas were out that race, but Sebring is not a Miata track. That's a lot of flat open ground. So that was just some good racing on their part. So
seemed like it was pretty good turnout too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had plenty of laps made.
AER was at Summit Point. Saturday, Class 4 went to Car Dorks in a Cheaty BMW. Class 3 went to Dope Panic in a Cheaty BMW. RX Racing in a Boxster, and Class 2, I'm guessing. And yes. Class 1 was Laying Pipe in a 944. Sunday, Class 4 was Angry Croc Cayman S. Well, aren't they fancy? Class 3 was No Rags Racing Cheaty BMW. Class 2 was RRT Racing Cheaty BMW. And Class 1 again went to Laying Pipe. Yep.
Wow!
Right?
Right? All right, and Lucky Dog was at Rockingham Saturday. Randy managed to get his Volvo and an overall win in A. B was Dirty 30, and C was Wild Yarp.
Erp.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah, like
Erp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that word that I should be using. all the
Wyatt
time.
Earp instead of Wyatt Earp. It's Wild Earp.
Okay. Sunday was CBMA and overall. Day 1 A and overall. Buzzed Viking in B and Wild Arp again for in C.
There you have it. That was their first time at Rockingham too. So yeah,
Where's Rockingham?
North Carolina. It's a NASCAR.
It's a roval.
It is a road.
Oh.
Hope you like walls.
And is there any infield or is it just
Yes.
oval?
Yes.
What?
No. Road course and
No.
oval.
A roll. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's an
Okay.
oval that you then go into the infield. and
Got it.
finish
Like
out.
like
It's
New
not
Hampshire.
Mhm.
Yes, that's why it's not an oval. It's a roval. Yes.
Is everyone pirates now?
Uh-huh.
Man,
Stop
I'm
popping
on a
the
roll. Wow.
You know who's not a pirate?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not, but I was trying to figure out how we're working this one. But okay.
So, Chrissy's mom, who now I understand has been listening during your absence, and that makes me so happy.
That is correct, and she
That's
has said
just
how much
wonderful.
she
So
loves you
she is a true fan of the show, not just a fan of you two, but a fan. Our number one, both physically and numerically, our very first number one fan. So
That
that's
is true.
awesome, and that makes me so happy. Hello, Chrissy's mom.
They have a lot of driving back and forth to the shore, which is a couple hours, but they can. It's a good time to catch up on the show. It's actually my dad as well, so hi, Dad, because both of them listen
I'm
together
sorry,
when they're
yes,
on the way
yes. Mhm.
in. It's no problem.
He knows he is less important, so that's he
He
acknowledged
doesn't get
that
the
long
shout outs like my mom does, but
Well,
there's that.
and nobody has a problem with your dad. Just your dad doesn't make cookies
ever. Yeah.
You're both correct.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my time! Yay!
Great.
Yay!
So what are we talking about, Chrissy?
We are talking about productive work weekends because it's
We have
easy
several we're going to need to do coming up here with all the things
Yes.
that broke in our
Yes,
cars.
we are.
Well,
Yeah.
and also with the break in the schedule, it's hot as hell. You don't want to waste people's time. This is topical. This is news you need
is.
now.
And it's easy to do it wrong. And then you waste people's time. Then they don't always have fun. You could always lose momentum. So if you just kind of like run out of parts or you don't have what you need and everybody's just kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll just go home. To be productive, if you have your ducks in a row, it can be more productive. So
And work weekends can be really fun, and you can get a lot. Yeah, you can get a lot done and have good. But being productive and having fun together makes it a great time for everybody.
Absolutely.
Let's remind ourselves of what we need to do.
Right. First off, you got to plan. You can't just go into it and go, well, I guess we're going to do some work. No.
I mean, you can, but it's not great.
So let's
It's
talk
not.
about
It's
planning.
not the very first word, which is in fact productive.
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly. So let's talk about what is the things you need to do in the plan. And I think you got to start with the basics. What do you want to get done? Know what you want to get done. So give the car a good once over ahead of before you just go into, well, I guess we should pull it out of the trailer and see what's what. No, you've got to at least have an idea of that before you start. And make a good list. And not just like roll cage, engine. Like make a list that's got lots of things on it, especially if you have people of varying skill levels who are going to be there. And usually if you've got a group with more than 2 people or so, you're going to have that. So everyone at all times should know, all right, I finished my task. I'm going to look and see what else I can do and go on to that. And it's also a great way to get people who are maybe a little their skills are not quite as developed as others to just be able to feel like they're involved and do something and get things done that need to get done and are helpful. So whether it's significant others or family members or kids or whatever it is, that, everybody can get involved. If there's things that they know, I can look there. Oh, I can clean the windshield. Anybody can do that, or whatever the case may be. Get that list with everyone that everyone can participate on, and that's why you need a big whiteboard in the garage.
Well, and something to that too, that is, you have that plan laid out long before the work weekend. Like, car has to get from this state to this state within this many days. And so breaking those down into, the task of, okay, there's this, and you can jump ahead on that list, but what the crucial steps are even before you put out the, work weekend. So yes, I don't use it as much as I'm supposed to, but I do have whiteboards in my garage for exactly that reason of trying to keep projects on task.
I've seen some other good things aside from whiteboards that work pretty well. A big piece of cardboard, you just write it all down. That's fine. That works great. Bill does the thing where he just has a bunch of strips of blue tape on the windows of the car with tasks written on them. And then as you do the task, you just take the piece of tape off the car. And that's great if you've got a lot of cars with different projects. You've got the list that stays with the car as it goes.
That is good, because it also gives you, it's the location of the various, on the tape.
Not many people have, when you go to a work weekend, which car would you like to work on? There are many that you could work on. Typically we say, we have one goal, we're going to work on this one car and do this. Here's some projects, some extra projects, but for the most part, here's one project that we're going to focus on. Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not going there. All right. So, and this is a big thing, and it's easy to overlook, but it's really, really important. And you want your supplies, your parts, and your tools that you think you're going to need. And so that way it doesn't get stuck. Nothing kills momentum faster than everyone's humming, everything's getting done, and then it all comes to a linchpin piece right there, and all the work comes to a stop. Now, with the advent of O'Reilly's and Napa and AutoZone all on there, you can usually get that stuff right away unless it's a specialty part. But with Rock Auto or Parts Geek or any of those places, you can have all of that lined up ahead of time. Or if it's something that's going to take some time.
With all our weird stuff, there's definitely things you're going to need to order ahead of time. Like, you can't just roll down to the flaps and get ST43s. If you sure, you can pay $90 a brake rotor, but you can also pay $28 at Rock Auto. And isn't that better? And to have it sitting there ready to work on,
and it's, at the very least, it becomes a spare. No matter, even if you have it and you decide, well, the ones that, whatever that may be, if you decide that you don't want to do that swap of whatever it is, then you have a spare. Not a big deal.
Yes.
Then
So
you have it.
have all of there. And then the other big one is tools. And it can go one of two ways. It can absolutely bring, if you need a specific tool, it can bring the work kind of just absolutely to a stop, or it encourages some creativity with tools that may not be the best for the job, which is not something that I'm opposed to morally or philosophically, especially at the track.
Didn't I have this philosophical discussion before we left about using the right tool for the job?
Exactly, because then you break stuff, and then that absolutely is going to bring the entire work weekend to a halt. Yeah, or break yourself. So if you're going to need these specialty tools, and again, with the YouTube and all this other kind of stuff, and kind of having an idea of what it is you're going to need to get done, this can all be taken care of beforehand. And then the folks that show up at your work weekend, even if they don't realize it exactly, they're a lot more appreciative of your respect for their time and their contribution.
It's stuff like, I'm going to need a press to do these bearings. It's going to be a whole lot easier if I have a press than sitting there wailing on a hammer or using a jack in a truck. And just get the bearing press and make it easy. Or here's one thing that's definitely held us up that I've gotten good at getting: welding gas. If you're going to be welding, get your welding gas, because air gas and Praxair and stuff, they're not open on the weekend. Tractor Supply
that derailed me 2 weeks ago with some of my garage projects. Is I ran out of welding gas, and there's banker's hours, and then there's welding supply store hours.
Yeah. Hint for those who have run into this, Tractor Supply has welding gas, and they are open on the weekends, and they do an exchange. But you have to have bought their tank ahead of time, or you have to buy the tank when you're there. So I have a Tractor Supply tank that I have to go exchange at Tractor Supply. It's blue. It's more expensive. But when you are stuck, okay, I want to keep going. So that's why I continue to have the one Tractor Supply MIG gas tank that when it runs out, I go exchange it at Tractor Supply. But usually that's the backup tank. I try to use up the one that we fill up at Air Gas otherwise.
Yeah, I forked out at Air Gas for the giant, the big 80-gallon super tall tank, which gets you some funny looks driving through the gate with a giant tank,
especially in your Miata.
In a Miata, but it's really great because and I still have my shorty, which I keep. So when the big one runs out, I can swap over to the shorty, and that's enough to remind me to take the big tall tank with me to work the next day and sneak out during lunch and go get an exchange.
Definitely.
Yeah, they love it when pulling up in the NSX to exchange welding gas. That's always fun. And here's another tip, though. I didn't know this until fairly recently, that it's very reasonably priced to exchange whatever tank you have for a larger one. Like we had 40s and we've upgraded to 60s, and it really was
$40, $20, something
less than, like a very small amount more. And the incremental cost of gas in the larger tank isn't as much as you think. So if you keep finding you're running out of gas in your smaller tanks because you didn't want to have a big tank kicker, maybe consider going up one size and see how it works for you. It's not cost prohibitive. It's a minor expense.
Speaking of cost prohibitive in Air Gas, if somebody is watching your credit card while you are making said transaction at Air Gas, and somebody is concerned about returning one and then purchasing another one, or you purchase the other one for a very lot of money, then the husband is saying, "Did you return that? Did you get this exchange? Because I have multiple credit card exchange, multiple credit card, very expensive. What's going on?" It's fine.
I get an alert when it's used. Yep.
Sorry. We have sound effects with this new software.
Hey, it's Betzel in the Morning Zoo crew here.
So
yes, I'm glad you brought up the gas because it definitely has happened multiple times. Because you can go out and get wire, but gas is a little bit harder. Like you have less options.
That's how we know.
All the years I've lived near Tractor Supply, I never knew that. That would have actually helped me out, especially in Georgia. But now I don't think the nearest Tractor Supply is like way across town. But on a Saturday, it might be my only option. Yeah.
Stretch to figure out what the heck you're going to do. And then you've got a whole bunch of people standing around. You have a couple more bars and you're just trying to, stretch it out and, get past one part of the project. And then all of a sudden you run out of gas.
Yep.
Not great.
All right. Next up, we got a list. We've got our supplies and our tools and good. Make sure you have a good, appropriate timeline that you set. Can you actually get the things done you're looking to get done in that timeline you set? Do the people who are going to come help out in the work weekend know about said timeline and are okay with it, or they might be expecting you to leave at 2:00 and you're not expecting that at all, or vice versa. Have appropriate expectations set there so people know, and where it is too. They don't want to go to the wrong spot. Make sure where you're working is going to be conducive to the work you're actually trying to get done. Like motor swaps in a gravel driveway when it's raining, that's not a fun time.
Done it.
Alternative.
Didn't enjoy it.
Right? But people may be less excited to come help you if that's the reality of said situation.
Yes.
Get one of those kind of portable garage things at Harbor Freight. Do something like sheets of plywood. Find a way to make it pleasant.
And if you're just stuck in that situation, telling people ahead of time, hey guys, this is going to suck. And I really appreciate you all coming helping and making this suck less. But, letting them know ahead of time, then everyone's like, okay, well, it doesn't deflate you when you know it's going to be bad or hard.
You can prepare.
It might
bring
still
the right
deflate
gear.
You. Correct.
Yeah. If you can bring the good rain slicker and not just like, well, I have this hoodie. Like, no, there's a big difference in how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or all of the layers if you're going to be in a hangar in the winter when it's icy. How about that? Okay,
Yes.
on the same note, food and drinks, but also like accommodations. So on when you have when and where, you're thinking about if you're going to invite people from afar, where are they going to stay? So do you have you offered some kind of option to them, or if they're going to be doing a lot of the work to help you, are you going to put them up in a hotel, or do you have a place for them to stay that's going to be appropriate? And then also, we didn't even write this down here, but a restroom accessibility. So especially for ladies, because that's a nice thing to have. So if everybody is just peeing around the corner outside of the hangar, then that's one thing. But is there a place? Is there an actual restroom for people? And or you might have a house that people, somebody they don't want you in, but what are your next options?
Or lay down that plastic to the downstairs bathroom so they're not tracking grease to your house.
Sure. Yes. Figure out come in the back door. Don't look at anything else. Don't touch anything else. Additionally, food and drinks, right? So if you're hosting a party, you need to make sure that you have a plan, or ask people to bring some stuff with them if that's possible. But typically, especially in our household, I'm usually also assisting with work. So then I usually am either coming in. We usually get takeout during the day because it's easy to get a pizza or something like that. Everybody kind of throws in a 20 and we get takeout. And then sometimes we usually try to do some kind of dinner. So even if it's just throwing burgers, like we make something for everybody. And that's really, depending on what the hour is, usually we try to sit down and hang out after that.
And I'll throw this out there. I did a lot of work with Jeff Gates, Judge Jeff, at his shop, and his shop was wonderfully equipped. And they always had they opened up their spare bedroom when I was in town, which was great. Their facilities, because it was a professional shop, they actually had like an entire professional like office bathroom and shower, so I could like jump in the shower before I jump in my car to drive back home after Sunday. But the one consideration. And if you've spent time around Jeff Gates, he's a great person. But Jeff Gates is a 1 meal a day kind of person. And the rest of the day, he survives entirely on nicotine and caffeine. And which is great because he has a wonderful like coffee maker in his shop that he's rebuilt like 4 times because it grinds the beans.
And now you're a smoker.
No, but so that was great. But I need food in the morning, and I'm going to need a lunch, and I'm going to need something to eat, So one of the guys would always, Dave, it was a friend of Tim's. He came and he'd always bring these really good donuts from the shop down the street. But yeah, that was always one of those. And so managing those expectations is at about 11:30. I'm like, okay, I'm going to the burrito place down the street. Who wants an order?
Does anyone else want anything?
And Jeff was usually like, I'm all right. But then everybody else was like, yeah, I'm starving. So we would all get food. So if you're, just know the eating habits of the people that are coming to help you, and have like plenty of those kind of options on hand. Cause it keeps everyone kind of just on track and on target when they are hydrated and, have food.
Not hungry.
Not
yeah,
hangry.
That's a good call. Yeah, I think all of the people that usually come over for work weekends are friends that I understand their eating habits. Also, I am a 33 at least 2 meal requirement. So when I'm hungry, I'm going to eat, and we're going to figure out what it is. Or I bring snacks. Snacks.
Chrissy loves snacks.
I love snacks.
Like she's the only one. I'm
right.
Snacks. Yeah. That's just one of the great things about having Tim around, like at the track, is there's always something to eat. If you have Tim Burr on your team, you're never going to get, in fact, you're probably going to be full most of the weekend.
Excellent. All right.
All right.
Got your planning done. Now it's time. We got to do this stuff. Let's get this work weekend going. You got to implement. So how are you going to go and make this happen? What do you think?
Well, so understanding the skill levels, and even within that, like, giving people an opportunity to grow and to try things on there, have an idea, even I loathe the term because I work for the government, but I loathe, but just have a meeting or something, but just in the morning, everyone's sitting around the Red Bull, the coffee, whatever. Okay. These are the things we need to get done. Mental, how do you feel about trying to finagle that exhaust? Hey, here's a thing that honestly, I have no idea how to do. Cut this old hood up and make that fit. We need to get the car painted today. Ooh, I have a plan for that. So it's one of those things where you sit down, and then sometimes you'll actually find that someone you thought maybe had a skill, they're not as comfortable with it, and they want to back off, or someone's ready to expand their horizons and stretch themselves a little bit. So you're gonna want to discuss either text, Snapchat, whatever your collective medium is, or there in the morning, about who's going to do what and what that timeline is, because that also keeps people from everybody trying to grab the same tool, stepping on people, and then well, I need to work on the wheel bearings, well, I need to work on the fender. Well, they're in the same place, and you can deconflict that ahead of time.
Yep. And then as part of that, try to keep like tasks together. Like when we had Jeff, we have work weekends. Jeff was the one who'd almost always end up being the guy under the car doing stuff. And so, okay, fine. But once you're down there, like, all right, what else needs to be done while I'm down here on the ground? Let's get that stuff done, and and hand them tools and do whatever it is. But group that as part of your plan of who's doing what. When you have a big enough group, you may need to have someone who should expect that part of their job is providing adult supervision to others.
No.
Especially when people may be stretching their skills a little bit, which is great. That's kind of half the fun of the work weekend for you, is to grow some of those skills that you can do something you haven't done before with someone who knows how to do it, checking your work to make sure it's good. Then it works out great for everybody. But the person who's providing that supervision needs to understand that they're going to be interrupted from their main tasks, and that just has to be okay, because the greater good and the overall completion matters more. So give it a shot.
If you're going to be management, you can't be the technician, or at least not at the same time.
Yes, you just have to know that you're gonna have breaks of your technician time to go be management, because really that helps get so much more done that way.
Yeah, have a job that you can break up and or be done later.
Yep.
Yep.
I think some orientation is important too. If people are not really familiar with your garage, go through it with them. That's
great.
Where you will find this thing. This is where this kind of thing is. If you can label things, that's great. If your garage is one of those black holes of sadness.
Again, no, we know no one that has one of those.
Right? Where where is that?
It's not sadness. It just makes sense in their brain.
Oh, yeah. It's not you. Their brain, yes.
Where is it? Well, I just gotta go look. And 3 boxes later, there's a cat
under the baby stroller that the kid just turned 18, and which is legit
and you reach in under this thing, and you pull out this different box. It has nothing to do with it, and in the bottom of that, inside a coffee can, is the thing you. Yeah, okay. If you're one of those people, maybe spend a little time cleaning the garage up ahead of time to make it more conducive to work.
That's funny.
Otherwise,
or you're just going to be that guy. If you're the only person that knows where things are, you're just going to be interrupted constantly because you have to help find the things.
Well, it may be, if you're the guy that knows where everything is, lay all that stuff out, like grab the rickety card table and throw a piece of plywood on it, and
2 horses and a piece of plywood.
Hey,
that's Jeff's favorite.
Tires. Yep.
Yeah. Or stack of tires. Yep. That's usually Jeff's go-to. That's how he lays it all out, lays all the tools out. That's where you go to get your stuff.
And that's a great workaround for when your garage is less organized. But at the very least,
you're so kind.
Tell people where stuff is. And also, if you're looking for something, instead of just shuffling around looking for it for a half hour, just ask. Everyone's happier.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Just ask.
If you want to know how to make me mad, just ask. Do not rifle. No dig. No dig.
I need at least a minute of dig. just for the tactile sensation of locating that device. And usually if like it's a little bit of dig and I'm like, ooh, okay, not the right thing, and then I'll ask. But if I'm trying to like map out the facility, okay, like you've got a drawer that is labeled hammers and things to hit.
That's exactly what I.
And usually I can reason through, okay, I need a punch or I need a pickle fork or something. So I can, I've been there enough times to go, there's a strong possibility it's in this one. And then if I don't find it in that drawer, I have learned. So I give myself like a minute and then I just go, where would I find this thing?
I think that's a great way to go because you're trying to help yourself, but you're if it's not going to happen easily, just ask. It's easier for everybody after you've tried to help yourself. That's
all
great.
right. I'm okay with a little bit of dig. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. I might ask you before I give you the little bit of time to dig what you're looking for. I might do that just because that's how I am. And I'm even not even just our garage. Is this in the paddock when you're digging through my boxes? If you don't know what you're looking for, chances are I can tell you better. So don't dig.
Yes, and no, there's not a chance. That's 100% fact that you could tell me better. But am I really going to learn? And it's not that sort of thing. It's just I am a discovery learner, and I'm like, okay, I remember putting my hand like. I feel like you guys' your track box, I'm about 65% with it.
Unless
I can
there's
find
stuff
what
that
I'm looking for.
I don't put stuff away in the right spots. So sometimes I know that I threw the PAM spray into the wrong box last night because it was about to rain. I threw everything in the wrong spots. So sometimes you could be digging for a while and the nonsense isn't, there's no.
Yeah. Or no, we loaned that to, Ron next door because he's using it right now.
Or that's in the trailer. It's not even in the garage.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. For the most part, we try to move stuff back in. But anyway, I like this. I like the discovery. And I never think about what you discovery learner or whatever you just said. I never think about that.
So
I should more.
But and the other side of that is too, especially if you've got a group, I would say of more than 3 and they are not constant residents, it is also incumbent upon you as work weekender to put things back. Because someone else is going to come looking for this and they're expecting it to be in a certain spot. And if you're one of those, as soon as I'm done with the tool, I set it down and then I move on to the next task. Maybe the manager needs to go around and start collecting tools and putting them back in their
work
spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends
if
on the
you're
work.
doing something really greasy, maybe don't put it back because now you've just made the toolbox dirty.
Yeah.
So there are some rules of the house in different places. Like what we often do is when you're done with a tool, put it on the workbench, and then periodically we tidy up, clean the tools, put them away, or Vicky's 10-minute tidy. Sometimes you just need a 10-minute tidy, right? It makes it much better. Just spruce things up.
I feel like that's one of the things we bonded over. We've talked about it before, but it was the first time we all met, and it was the Wartburg, and Eric was doing the head gaskets, and tools were just going everywhere, and all of us were twitching a little, and then finally we just started grabbing them and laying them out on the trailer. We had the metric wrenches here and the dog bone wrenches in the sockets, and we all started laying them out in a logical fashion because we just couldn't stand how they were landing.
Yeah.
And he's a big bag of tools guy. He's just like big green canvas bag. Dump it. All my wrenches.
No.
Yeah.
No, but we usually have a pile. Usually make piles if you have, at the end of the day is typically give all the tools except for the exact ones that you're working on. But definitely don't necessarily go put them away because I usually clean up at the end of the day because I like clean tools.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, good.
Anything else on implementation? I don't know, just like you got people there, talk it through. If you've run into a problem with something, talk it through. What's the challenge you've got? See what other ideas people have. Because you might get an idea of how to make something different. A different tool that you didn't know existed might be there that can help you get to that weird bolt that you can't find a way to. Or you can make a tool, or someone might have a great idea about a different way to route something, or who knows. You got people there, talk.
And sometimes those ideas come from the person you don't expect. Your highly motivated, not as experienced, enthusiastic team member has an idea. Well, why don't we just do it like this? And I think we've all been in situations where all of a sudden everybody just goes, that's like the really, really smart, simple idea. Why didn't any of us think of that at all?
Or this is the great time to realize that we have a special tool that we don't use much. Like we have a couple of our like things you bought at SEMA, or things you're like, oh, I'm struggling to get this bolt in this place because I've shoved my hand right here and it's very hard to do. Oh, you know what I have? I've got the tool for you. Yep. We don't use it much.
Follow
It's
me.
over here. But yes, I have the tool for you.
Yeah, that won't make it out to the piece of plywood because it's a specialty tool.
No.
I don't think I need that today.
Yeah. Or if you're struggling with a wrench, I know you guys have one. I have one. Faridas has one. You have the I'm done asking impact gun. You got your regular, 3/8 impact gun, and then you have the I'm not being nice anymore. And that one also doesn't go out to the tool bench because it weighs 14 pounds, and usually it's a 1/2 inch.
It's usually on the bench.
Yeah.
It's actually right next to the bench. It's where it lives, so it's usually pretty easy to find.
Yeah. I call mine Big Chungus.
As you would.
Yep.
So where's Big Chungus? I'm done playing around with this bolt.
Make sure you set it to the right settings, on or off. Why won't this work?
Sometimes when you get tired, that's
with
that.
Big Chungus, either way, that problem is going to be solved. No matter which way you do it.
In the right way or the wrong way?
Yeah.
You might create a separate problem, but the original problem is solved.
Oh.
Yes.
100% of the time.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
Okay. All right. So the next thing is, this is really important. You've got to keep it fun. Work weekends can be terrible, drudgery, slogging away, or you can make them fun.
I've never had a bad work weekend at your place. Not once, not ever. Even when it snowed on me and I was miserable cold.
But that's the attitude they have to have going in. It's like, it's a work weekend. We're hanging out with our friends. We're in the garage. We're getting things done. Keep it fun. Go into it with that kind of attitude.
Yep. Little Paddock douche jams for the stereo.
Usually, until we go through all of it, then we usually switch to, I don't know, 90s,
Sure.
80s.
Fighters or something or whatever.
Yeah.
And like our buddy Pantless Matt, he's known for he likes his metal, and I can't listen to angry music when I'm working on cars because the first thing barrier that I run across, I want to start smashing stuff. I do think music does kind of set the tone sometimes but for him, like, heavy metal, death metal, that's his happy place. It keeps him calm.
Yep. And we try to keep it fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you get frustrated by something you're doing too, just stop, relax, talk it out, keep it going. Don't let it get you down. Like hand
it off to somebody else. Maybe they'll have better luck.
Maybe, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's a huge way to move along.
Yeah. I love that you guys put this in there because I think I would have worded it less pretty, but you celebrated the things that are completed. You've got your whiteboard, your cardboard, your piece of tape, especially if it's kind of one of those linchpin projects. Make a production out of that. Woohoo! Brakes are done. Pull that tape off, and yay, everyone's happy about that one. So, you are celebrating those milestones and those accomplishments. Make a, big giant cross through that on there. I know for whiteboards, a lot of people like to erase it. I'm a cross it through kind of person. Because then at the end of the day, you can see how effective you were. Then you erase all of it and rewrite everything that wasn't done on there. But during there, cross things off. Be happy about that. I am also known for, particularly if it's a stubborn bolt. You got like 4 people that started around. It finally just came off. You got the vice grips and the screwdriver and everything, and you pried it and you unscrewed it off. Is taking that one out in the driveway and throwing it on the ground and going, oh! That's just a thing with me.
No way.
And there's also that
we're
magic moment in every project, even a small project, where you go the ceremonial flipping of the ratchets from off to on, and acknowledge that. All right, we have flipped the ratchets. We are to on now. That's good.
Wow, so much.
Who gave him sound effects?
Oh, no.
It's either that or like this is the other one.
No, hey, back to the morning zoo crew. Chrissy, how's traffic out there in the Blue Room?
Oh, it's fine. Right now it is.
I've got to add sad trombone on there somewhere, but yeah.
We are erasers, so we are. We'd rather look at an empty whiteboard than a crosser outer. So that's what we don't. Yes, right. But
either way, you're celebrating. That's done. We're making progress. Everyone likes progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I
tunes. Beverages have plenty of. Yeah, Chrissy's got this.
What? All the beverages?
Just hospitality. That's your.
Oh, sure.
Your jam.
But hospitality is my jam. I have all the beverages. Usually, I know what most people have, alcoholic and non. But I feel like stopping at a reasonable hour if possible. So if you're at crunch time, you need to do an engine swap or build this car for next weekend, you may not be able to do that if you're trying to make actual goals. But if it's just let's get this engine swap, let's do a couple things. All right, well, the rest of the work we can do for the rest of the week after everybody's gone, stopping at a reasonable hour. So like if you can afford to do dinner at 7:00, and then work up until then, at least you have a time frame when everybody can kind of cool off, take a shower, and just sit around and drink or not, but like just not working, because usually you're on your feet the whole day. Usually you don't, half the time we just eat the pizza on the car and don't actually even come in, depending on if it's super hot or super cold. But work weekends just end up being really a lot, and you're usually just going. So when you have the time to sit and do nothing, it's kind of nice. So
I would also one of the first things I did, I learned when I finally got to like a management level, is actually limiting people's time makes them a little bit more productive. There is something about, I've got all day to get this done. But if everyone comes in knowing that, hey, we're pretty much going to, turn the lights off at about 5:30, 6:00. And even if you go a little over, you finish a little early, it still kind of creates, it's a timeline in your own mind of, okay, well, I should go ahead and get these brakes done because I came up here to work on this car and get the brakes done, or get this swapped out, or get this engine pulled, or, having either a time or even a accomplishment oriented stop time.
Yes. Yep.
Because otherwise, and it is a tendency, we've all done this on race weekends, to go 14 straight hours, and then the next day you're useless.
Right. Yeah. So, at least if you are, I like the additional line on there that your add on of getting things done is at a natural stopping point, if there is one, right? That everybody, well, I'm just finishing up this job. Okay, well, I'll go in first and get a shower and start dinner, and you guys finish this up. Like we can kind of keep working, or I'm gonna go make our dinner arrangements or whatever that looks like, and kind of start breaking it up slowly like that. And as people, I'm gonna clean the tools, I'm gonna finish this job, I'm gonna go, set the table. Then we can kind of, parse it out and kind of slowly. And then when everybody continues to work, hang out outside, the person that is waiting for dinner can just keep opening the door and be like, are we ready yet? Can we do this? Because you guys are still out there and I'm ready for dinner. That doesn't happen in our house at all.
Yes.
We're almost done. We're almost done. We're just finishing this one thing.
It's cold now. It's useless. I slaved over this, and now it's fine.
I don't do that. I don't do that because I leave everything ready to go for when everybody shows up. But it's one of those things where that makes it so that you will stop. So we don't just keep going, because if everybody there is just do it all, keep going, then you end up just working all night. And then again,
you need those breaks though, because otherwise, like, you can just kind of get stuck and keep going. And all of a sudden you realize it's 10:00. You're tired. You're filthy. You're making mistakes as you're working, and you're not having a good time.
And they're 14, you're like, well, I'm going to do this, but oh wait, I got to do this, but then I got to do this, and then I've got to do this, and you're 9 levels into, crap, and I've accomplished nothing.
We've done this on building a cage in a weekend. So we have built up, because the last bits are usually, so maybe it usually takes us longer to do the theory part than the end. So sometimes we're to crunch time and it ends up being late. But that's the kind of stuff that's, if possible, right? If you're at a spot and you have a goal that needs to be done by the end of the weekend because the bender is at the hangar and we need to make sure that we have all of our bends, then you don't have a choice of when you finish.
Well, then you move things around. Like, all right, well, I don't need to fully weld this piece in. I can just tack it, so we can move on to keep doing the things that are time
weld when you get
sensitive
home.
and go back to it later. Right? Yeah. Great.
Yeah, valid. Yeah.
All right. And back to the fun thing. Like, have a plan for what else you're gonna do, or like have availability for something. Like, well, okay, you're done. You stopped your work day. You had dinner. You've got, apparently, hopefully these people are friends that you're working with. I imagine they are. So, like, what are you gonna do?
Well,
now?
if they didn't start that way, yeah.
Right, exactly. So now what? Like, do you have some games around? Maybe get a new game. You've got some race video you want to watch and hassle someone for doing, you check the things that they're the spots they missed, or look at that, was a great drive. Oh, that was fantastic.
Old wrap-up videos.
Right. Right.
We've done that. Like whole nights of old wrap-up videos.
Right. Hot tubs and tequila, or whatever the case may be. Just have some kind of idea what the plan is going to be. So it's otherwise you're just sitting around after dinner and you don't want everybody just staring at their phones. Like, make it a more social event. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Good call. Yep.
All right.
Well,
let me see if this works.
This has got me jazzed for a work weekend.
We've got plenty.
Oh, pooey.
Anyone want to come swap a motor?
Yeah.
Yay, me! We need to get the motor first.
Yeah. I do have a line on a 7-mile engine for that car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That looks like fun.
Instead
7
of a
miles.
2018 Ford Escape. I don't know why that Ford Escape is done with 7 miles, but I just got to get it from Pittsburgh out to here. Let's see what the shipping
If
costs.
only we knew people in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but
I don't think Al Jones wants to
coming
come
out here. Right.
Does
The problem is
Oh no,
getting
no,
here.
but he did send us some updates of they were moving into their new shop. He might be able to store it for you for a little bit.
Yeah, I probably just needed to get it shipped out here. Well, we'll see what the junkyard wants to work with me on that or not. If not, there's some other ones around here that'll closer, the 30,000 mile motors, stuff that's low miles, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's nice using a motor.
Not 7 though.
Not 7, but still, I'll take anything below 50. It'll probably work out nicely. It's better than the 90 something the motor we had on it. So
Fine.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So
I'm waiting.
What's next? Ready? Are we ready to go? Is that it? We're done. Ready to move on to our next topic?
Yeah, let's have work weekend.
Okay.
Hey,
Great.
well,
Let's have
what
work
did
again.
we miss? Get a hold of us. Put it on our
Please.
social medias.
Thank
What's
you.
your key ingredient for a work weekend? Put it in the comments. Get a hold of us. All the social crap that we'll talk about in a bit. What big key trick did we miss? Tell us.
Probably some pizza and beer. People
Probably,
are
yeah.
the
gonna
Yeah.
crystal
There's
meth
no
you got
probably.
left out.
There's 100% pizza and beer.
Crystal meth? Why do we bring crystal meth into this
So you
party?
can stay up all night and get some work done. God.
I mean, I don't know that it's going to be productive.
Quality may suffer.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Quality.
Don't build a roll cage on crystal meth. There you go.
Theme.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but
Yeah.
Theming is
Theming.
probably a good thing to do, like on Molly. I don't know either, but it's a fun joke.
Yep. All right.
we're
On the
waiting,
next
tech
safety
guy.
subject. It's time for
Just the
thought there was some amazing sound effect that was going to happen.
I
don't need a sound effect. Oh, okay. Wow.
I get this one too. So
okay.
I haven't added all the effects in yet.
It's fine. They're dumb and I would not need it. Thank you though. All right. So I was going to do a safety topic of taking shortcuts or watching for not take shortcuts. But I had a non-OSHA reportable injury that had some blood, but with no additional care that was needed in my plant today, which is haven't had one of those in a while. So, and this was a case where somebody was not following the correct process and basically cut her finger because the razor blade was in. She was cutting towards herself and cut her finger, and she was supposed to be cutting away from herself, and so her other hand was in the line of fire. So watching for when you are obviously doing any kind of work, making sure that you are any kind of tool or action should be away from your body, not towards your body, any of your extremities, and it could just be that if you're hitting something and it could end up missing it and it could hit you in the stomach, or it doesn't always have to be your fingers or your hands or your arms. But there's plenty of times when sometimes if you're doing it and you're like, oh yeah, that's why my finger's there. I mean, I'm really good at chopping vegetables very quickly. No, I'm actually not. So sometimes I actually gasped today, didn't cut myself, but it's definitely a thing where it's easy for it to happen, that you could come close to and then realize that you are doing that the wrong way and have your fingers in the way of cutting vegetables, then you are in the line of fire. So it doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be in a manufacturing plant. So yeah, just make sure that you're watching where you are, where your extremities are. Do you have any good examples for me?
Watch where your cat is.
Watch where your cat is. Sure. Oh, you have a cat. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cat.
Well, so actually, since you guys brought up the pet thing, one of Vicky's earliest disciplinary things was to keep our dogs out of the kitchen, because she's always got something heavy and hot, and she's like, one of these days I'm going to trip over you dogs. And I'd say probably like twice a year, one of them will get not kicked, but kicked because they're underfoot, and it's either kick the dog or trip with hot pan of boiling stuff. So
hilarious watching those dogs, especially when you had all three of them, and they would inch into the kitchen, and she would be like, "Hey,
right
hey!"
under the line of the flooring.
And they would
that line
and
is
they
right
would,
there.
they would all cinch back, and then it would just happen again and again. I mean, they were very obedient. It was amazing to watch. Really good. We, with kittens, don't have that under control at the moment. So half the time when I'm doing something, I was like, hey, watch, they're literally under your feet right now. So yeah, animals absolutely could be the line of fire. Then it could hurt you as well. So if you try to save yourself and, start falling over with a hot pot of stuff, then you've not only tried to not affect a cat or animal, you could affect yourself as well. So just watch it. I'm sure people have a incident where it's happened, and at least I've thought better of it and said,
well, yeah. And it's always one of those, you're standing there with something bloody, trying to stop the bleeding on whatever wound you just inflicted, going, yeah, that probably wasn't a good plan. Yeah.
I feel like
there probably
Chris's
was no
thumb.
plan. It was, yeah.
Let me see your thumb, because I'm pretty sure that was a line of fire incident. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was, don't put your finger anywhere you wouldn't put your, That's really a good rule.
Yeah. And not just slicey things, but, hammer things. I mean, how many times have you gone to go drill into like a piece of steel on a work center, and then you're like, this thing's going to spin right around and whack me in the side, and not because I thought ahead, but because this has happened to me 14,000 times. And so I'm going to put it, instead I'm going to get a C-clamp and put it on there when I drill the hole through it,
Good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Good topic. It was topical. It happened today.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, we're between races for like everybody, so everyone's fixing something, I'm sure.
Yep.
Pretty much.
All right.
All right.
What are we talking about next week?
Well, I think we're probably going to talk. Well, we're going to talk about some kind of racing. So we're probably going to talk about some Le Mans. We have some ideas for how to do it right. If you are thinking about going, or you know somebody that wants to go, and we can tell you our experience. So I think we'll be talking about that. If not next week, it'll be soon.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that your advice is go.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes. So all right. So not one of those. This sucked.
I mean, it was an adventure. It was. The monkey might have stolen my lunch, and I think the hippo flipped my boat. So
I've got gentleman Dave is in town, and I am meeting him tomorrow. He is picking up camping gear, and then him and his nephew are going out into the woods. But he had called me and said he actually had a great time with hanging out with you guys. So
he was actually
he'll tell you a lot of good stories. So.
He was actually our third wheel. It was totally fine, but we had a car. He did not. So we toted him around for most of the weekend, which was wonderful. So
he's small. He doesn't take up a lot of space, you know.
You would be surprised.
Actually, about his camping gear.
We'll talk about that.
All right.
Listen to it, and I think he'll agree. So it's okay.
Yep.
All right. So this is the other part where I surprise my co-host by doing this. Oh, for Pete's sakes.
So I do need to hold up my speaker by the microphone? Or
you do need to hold up your speaker by the microphone because my file relocated.
Aha. Good thing I was ready. I know. It's already been an improvement, Metal, so good. Thank you. Hey, so thanks for downloading us. So we hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. Hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and work weekend building, because everyone can sweat in a garage with their friends, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free, and you get what you pay for. Give us then go to iTunes and give us that 5-star rating. Don't care what you thought. 5 stars, and tell us why. Questions, show ideas, thoughts, comments, emotional outbursts. You can send these everywhere. Facebook, everyoneracers@gmail.com. All of the other social media, various things, we're there. Text Mental's pictures of your junk at your next work weekend, 484-243-0455. Thanks again, everybody. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless you're the one that gets the undercar bitch work for the day and you are a grease monster, then just don't touch anything when you get out front of the car, okay? Thanks.